Welcome everyone, Grand Gnosis Master Dr. Thor Templar here, and we're going to talk about the Superman syndrome, the magical Superman syndrome. And of course this is what everybody wants, of course. And what is that? Well, that's basically having, quote, super abilities by just arriving on the planet. Now, everyone's heard of Superman, and how did that happen? Well, Superman, or pretty much most of the, or almost all of the superheroes, other than Daredevil, there may be a few others, just have abilities because something happened to them. You know, Spider-Man, the radioactive spider, bites him. Superman just arrived on this planet, and boom! He could do everything because the atmosphere triggered his abilities here. And of course, that's what everybody wants. People just want the atmosphere triggering their abilities. They don't want to practice at anything. They don't want to learn things. Or they want to get some sort of tool that someone promises or lies to them will do everything of their dreams. Now, we are striving for magic working for you instead of with you. But in general, magic works with you and not for you. It combines with your life, and this just makes common sense. So people who try to get huge amounts of wealth in their life when they have no channels to bring it to them are really living in a fantasy world. What most people do is they try to empower themselves, and then, of course, the only place you can create a large channel for money is the very difficult and near impossible manifestation through the lottery. Now, you can make yourself luckier, and if you do all the right things, you will win more often. You know, pick the right scratchers, you'll pick the right numbers, but the secret of doing this to the point of winning it, if the entire system isn't highly rigged, and there's a big question about that and how things are done in general. But let's get past that factoid and move into empowering yourself in those areas. So now gambling is a way to empower yourself because there are that mysterious energy called luck. And if you increase that, you're going to win more often. You can't make yourself win at a particular game. You can't do a spell on yourself and then go to the slot machine and win with that one slot machine. So the whole idea, if you're empowered and you play slot machines frequently, you can win as much as 20 to 40% more often. That's quite a bit when you add it all up. So it's not like you're discounting the power of magic in general and empowerment, because magic is just energy fields. You increase an energy field around you, and this would happen. So if you want to meet someone, you increase your energy fields for love and relationships around it. You want to win in gambling? Well, you increase that. You want to have a better job? Well, you increase your general success energies and when you're doing things. It's as simple as that, and it works fantastic. Now, it doesn't sound all that impressive except when you want Harry Potter or comic book movie Hollywood results. These things don't exist. Anybody that has those abilities will never, ever share them. And there are a few rare individuals who can do some pretty amazing manifestings occasionally, or if they're able to do it frequently, any smart person wouldn't walk around a city with $100 bills sticking out of their pockets. And that's what you do if you're an empowered person with lots of money and tell people. You know, it is a real fact that you will be harassed. We can see this with just people who are lotto winners, who have been murdered, hostage, who constantly have people trying to extort them. All this is part of the reality that we live in. And certainly that's no different for magical people. If you start manifesting a lot through magic and advertise it, well, you're going to be in hot water. So I do know psychics who have multi-million-dollar homes, lots of money in the bank, and they've got it through their psychic power. Matter of fact, there's lots of people who do that. Now, they are also smart people. A lot of occultists tend to be disconnected from society. They don't know how to invest. They're not involved in investments. They're not involved in any aspect. Everybody has a certain interest in gambling because it's so simple, but you have to go really past that. If you're going to do it, you really have to study whatever you're doing. And of course, you have to always practice. You know, all of these people who are wealthy as well practice. the Superman syndrome of just having abilities because you buy something, get some tool out there. And, there's been, for the last 20 years, there's been a whole group of criminal people laundering money by selling fake empowered items. Ghost spirits, you're going to have astral sex, you're going to be super rich. All this is complete and total nonsense. It doesn't work like that. And you've had spirits reacting in your life in that strong of a manner, you would have a very upsetting life. And there's a price for everything. Succubuses and incubuses are not exactly fun things to have around. They drain your energy. This is not a sex party or orgy. If it works, and of course, none of these things work. None of these things work. People buy all these things by the thousands now, and surprisingly, these people have odd feedback that seems to be 100% positive. How could that be with anything? Well, it is if you're a criminal organization, and most of these are. They're laundering money because there's a huge criminality group that has infiltrated the occult sciences, or I should say occultism, including most of the publishers now, almost all of them, who are connected to Satanists. So it's all very interesting when we get involved in those things, and it's... But this magical thinking, I'm just surprised that people will lay hundreds and hundreds of dollars down based on these false promises. And why would you possibly have such potent magic and sell it for a few $100s? People spend thousands on dating, strip clubs, prostitutes, pornography, whatever it may be. So to get, even if you spent $500 on some sort of astral sex thing, well, that would certainly be saving everyone money. What an easy thing to do. So all of this stuff makes no sense whatsoever, and they're just people buy rings and other things at wholesale prices, and then some are attractive, and then they claim something's in there, and people get it. And I guess this is a way that, well, I got a nice ring from it, or quasi-nice ring, and people are happy. But that's not the point. These kind of things that are promised here, no matter what level they're at, are absurd. Magic doesn't work like that. You're not going to get spirits, which is the talk out there, to go out and do things for you in this particular manner. Now, there are advanced practitioners and others that can manifest well, but there always seems to be a disconnect. I hear this from a lot of people, and I hear they have terrible spirits that do things, even to the point of murdering people and relatives because they didn't follow through with their blood sac. But what is happening here? What is happening? What are they getting back for all that? Well, I don't really see any of these people manifesting to any great levels. So it seems to be a soap opera of nonsense going on. So when it really gets down to it, we have to understand that it doesn't work like that. In the occult sciences, we deal with it in a very practical fashion. As I've mentioned, there's always some people with extreme abilities. These people are extremely rare, and they don't work all the time, and most of them are kind of disoriented and can't seem to apply the energy to do much for them. We can see that from the PK Man, if we are able to believe all the information about the PK Man from Jeffrey Mishlove, who researched him for a long period of time. He never could figure out how to make a dime with it, and just came out to the lowest common denominator of threatening people, putting curses on people. But why couldn't he manifest in a more direct line? Why couldn't he go to Vegas? Why didn't he heal people to make money from it? Well, he started doing that. He certainly isn't a long list of his successes there. So the whole idea is that everybody's same. So there are these people that do it. As I said, I know many people living in mansions that have made it from their occult empowerments. But this is rare. And ultimately, you can't look at a few wealthy individual, top athletes, etc., and say, gee, I want to be like them. Well, they have a lot of ins, a lot of natural abilities, and a lot of things you don't know about. People are successful in many ways, mostly because they have some sort of leg up or connection. That's a big part of what they do. And a lot of it is just fabricated lies, like so many hucksters on YouTube who are selling success programs that really don't have any real businesses. So the whole idea is that they make their living from selling training, which is very lucrative, and you make a lot of money from it. It'll make you a billionaire. Look at Tony Robbins and other people. Did they ever do anything? Well, no, they're motivators. And of course, they serve a purpose. They help you achieve high levels. And magic is the same way. But what other people can do has absolutely nothing to do what you can do with it. It's a fantastic help for people. Build strong energy fields that attract to you what you want, and your life completely turns around. So everything you do then becomes positive. You meet the right people, and your life evolves. Instead of expecting to rub a lamp and a genie pops up, and somewhere a pot of gold is found in your house. Well, that just doesn't work, people, and never has. So the Superman syndrome is just that. It's a syndrome of quick fix. The same thing with get-rich schemes, the fast road to wealth and everything else. Well, pretty much all of that's a fantasy. And the people that do create it are either doing that in some fake manner, or in very rare occasions, people are lucky. But generally, it comes down to people's hard work over long periods of time. So people need to understand that. Even with people like Steve Jobs, not my favorite person, made very little money from Apple. I mean, we hear about Apple, and he made some money from stocks, but his majority of his wealth came from other companies he got in when he was thrown out of Apple because he was incompetent. So the whole idea is that we've got to keep these things in mind. But he took over other organizations. Steve Jobs got into, I believe, Pixar, which was started by major motion picture people. So he just bought the company and then was able to, through his connections, able to take the people already working there doing the same job and was able to get a special animation going. Which then made a lot of money. So it didn't have anything to do with him. It came from his connection. So, you really have to research these things. And I've done a lot of research of what makes people successful, who are successful. And it really actually makes no sense. It's just a lot of it is having these occult energy fields that are drawing energy to you at a very high level, and then things happen for you. And this becomes a snowball of successes. Success breeds success. There is no Superman technology out there. You can get fantastic empowerments, but you have to study, you have to center, you have to build your occult muscles, you have to use the right technologies, proper amplifiers, psychic energies, manifestation energies, visualization energies are pitifully poor, low-level energies that are very difficult to manifest with. And by repeating it over and over again for months and months and years, well, people get some results. That's ass backwards. Use amplification technologies available through the organization. Our new consciousness technologies are the key to all empowerment. You need to increase the level of energies you're putting out. You can't do that by just meditating and other very poor methods that have been around for thousands of years, and quite frankly, have never worked very well to begin with. So there are no instant empowerments. There are things that will bring you up very quickly. Do a little study and do a little practices, and you'll see things soar through the roof. None of it's really hard through the technology that I offer, and it is technology, it is science, it works for everybody. The question is, what levels will it work for you? And that is always dependent on many different factors. But chasing a silly dream and paying hundreds if not thousands of dollars for junk machines, even worse, junk empowered items, so-called crystals, rings, etc., is really the stupidest level of occultism. And the con artist criminals that are involved in this love to take your money, and apparently nobody complains very much about any of it, and they get away with this. But supporting these people is supporting garbage technology. Support people who really have something so they can increase their research and produce stronger and stronger products. By supporting these criminals, you do nothing but continue the laughable sucker attitude that they see you as. So remember, that big S on your shirt ain't for Superman, it's for sucker.